Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Burn the Ship. Really excited here. Have a new connection of mine, Bruce Parker, Dr. Bruce Parker. I won't steal your thunder, introduce you. I'm going to ask you that in a minute. But this is the podcast where entrepreneurs are connected with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We always want to provide some value to you guys, help you overcome some of those objections, or just influence you and give you the motivation that you need to really go all in on what your dream is. Dr. Bruce Parker is going to help us out with that. He has definitely walked the walk and talk the talk as far as business goes. A good, valuable member of our audience here, as well as a really valuable guest to us. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Bruce? Tell us what your business is, what you've been up to.
I just had to walk over and shut the door. My dog was louder than you were.
No worries, my friend. Trust me, I have dogs that work right beside the office complex from us. I say work because it seems like their day job's sitting outside of our windows barking. So
Right? That's it. We have two. We have a silent one, which is a golden doodle, and we have a yappy one, which is a Jack Russell Terrier. So anyway, when I start to get on the phone or a podcast or anything important, he tends to say, "Hey, how about me?" So there we go. Um, I'm excited to do this talk because the topic is one that's very dear to me. Um, by trade, I'm a chiropractor. I went into chiropractic because natural health appealed to me, and also I required it at when I was 18 years old, and I became a patient of chiropractic. I became later a student, then a practice owner, and then a practice consultant, and then a retired consultant. I've done 50 plus years in this business, and I have an opinion. And I, to me, people will say, "Well, what's so and so say about this? What's so and so say about this?" I think some of the best opinions are one that we've lived, and a lot of what I have to share, regarding the business of chiropractic, is one that has kind of consumed me. When I first came out of school, I had no idea how to run a business. I had I was a trained financial planner. I had been doing financial planning. Um, at 19 years old, I just didn't want to talk about death. That seemed to be my topic every day, going and meeting people, talking about when they die. It wasn't really brand specific for who I was. I was more into racing motorcycles and cars and stuff like that than selling life insurance and doing financial planning. And besides that, my financial planning was living from paycheck to paycheck. What
right.
good could I do? So I ended up having a health challenge, and as a result of that, um, got into understood this profession, and entered into the chiropractic profession. What my obsession was when I came out of school was, now I got to run a business. And what I found out was a business is something that is solving a problem. And usually you solve a problem someone knows they have. And the interesting thing for me was a lot of people didn't see the solution to their problem as I saw it. And so from day one, my challenge has always been trying to reach a public that needs our service desperately, at the same time doesn't know they need it, or number two, really want it because it just, they look at sometimes, the action versus the result. It's kind of like, ooh, that kind of, it might hurt you. You crack our backs. They use these crazy terms, and they would judge the procedure based on the fact that they don't want to have somebody, adjusting their spine, which is the proper nomenclature. And it got down to that. So in that situation, I became obsessed because of the fact that I saw the need for this service huge. Without getting too political, I guess I get political because bottom line was I was fighting big pharma.
Right.
Big pharma, has pretty much been in my back pocket, especially the last couple of years. Trying to promote drugs and products that would eliminate symptoms. And the issue it comes down to treating symptoms is worthless in most situations because the problem is a symptom is a sign that something's wrong. And what we found out in my industry was that when a body had interference from brain to tissue cell, it wasn't functioning properly. And when it wasn't functioning properly, it would have a symptom. The symptom wasn't strictly take a drug or a pill and eliminate it. The symptom was what's causing it. And as I lived that lifestyle and everything, and I had my own businesses, and I started noticing in my own practices, I would have challenges. And later, the challenges I later called symptoms because when my business wasn't working, it wasn't the fact that my business didn't work. It's the fact that I wasn't working it properly,
Right.
and I was creating these ill-wanted symptoms. So when I look at a business today, I don't go, they say, here's what's wrong. I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And I look at it and I go, well, you don't really need all those things. What you need to do is find out why you're having them.
Mm-hmm.
And so finding the cause of a problem in business and health and life is where my focus has gone.
Sure.
So I'm actually the original ship burner because I basically burned my life when I went into this industry. I've never been. I've always thought that I was the odd man out. In fact, I wrote a book and I called it The Social Outcast because my entire life has been on the fringe. My entire life has been looking at challenges. When I look at a business, when the whole world's looking at, what's wrong, what do you need in your business? The first question is, I need more clients. So marketing is a big picture. But my answer is, why can't you keep the ones you got?
Right.
Why do you always have to replace people, always replacing people? That's not your problem. Your problem's not bad marketing. It might be bad marketing, by the way. But at the same time, it also might be the fact that your marketing is not attracting your ideal client. Your marketing, your own practice culture doesn't emanate what you do. No one really knows. I ask people what they say about you, and they don't even know because the public doesn't really know what their businesses do and what their purpose is for and all those things. And so therefore, as we in the social, not social, but in the professional services industry, we seem to get a lot of really caring people. Like in chiropractic, we have a lot of caring people. In physical therapy and other areas of alternative to medicine type approaches, we have caring people. They want to help people. And so in many situations, these people don't have backgrounds in business. So the first thing they try to do is save people money. They try to say, well, I don't want you to have to spend a lot of money to get better, but the bottom line is that's their opinion. They don't understand the fact that the people need sometimes to spend money to get better. People need to get into a system. People need to get committed. People need to go in there and change their life, because in most all situations, people's health is based on their lifestyle. People's health is based on their decisions they've made regarding health. People's businesses are also based on the decisions they make. I always say your business is a sum total of all your decisions. And so in that situation, my focus is today, even though I mentioned myself being a chiropractor, is not going to be about healthcare. It's going to be basically about the cause of problems. And it's going to be about basically the purpose for your business. First thing for your business is it profitable? A lot of people, when people call me up, they go, I need more business. I go, what do you mean? I can't pay my bills. I go, well, you don't have a business then. They go, well, yeah, I do. I go, well, if you can't pay your bills, you don't have a business. Do you take a paycheck? Well, I don't have enough money to take a paycheck. So what they do, they rob their Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. They take money out of their transactional accounts to pay their businesses, their bills. At the end of the month, they don't pay their taxes. They don't pay their employee partitions. At the end of the quarter, they don't pay their quarterlies. At the end of the year, they don't pay their actual taxes, in advance, and they're always behind a year. I had a guy that I've been consulting for many, many years, and the biggest challenge I had, he built a pretty good practice. $1 million personal service practice is a good practice. His collections were never, $1 million. They were more like, 400 or 500, because he would not put in service. He would not enforce what I recommended. They need to have, agreements. Patients that come need to understand there's going to be a cost. They need to understand there's going to be a commitment. If they want to change their life and transform their health, they're going to have to be involved. And it costs money to run a business. It costs money to render the services, and they're going to have to do those things. But he wanted to be a nice guy. He wanted to say, well, just pay when you can, and don't worry about it. The insurance will cover it. No, they won't.
Right.
The insurance doesn't really want to cover. It's a crazy industry. It's an industry. They want to sell you a program that will do all these things for you, and after you buy it, they don't want to deliver. Um, Sorry about that, insurance companies, but I'm just being,
Right.
I'm old now. I can say things.
Yeah, you're telling the truth.
Yeah, and finally, the nice thing about getting gray hair or white hair is the fact that they just now write you off as a kook. But the bottom line is, I'm really experienced. What I have is wisdom. I've been slapped around a lot over the last 50 years in practice, and I've been lied to by the best of them. And one thing I've found is that sometimes people that say they're your friend aren't really your friend.
Sure.
So back to my point. My point is this: is my picture blurry?
No.
Yours is clear, but mine appears blurry to me. Maybe it's just my eyes. I don't know.
It's pretty clear on my side.
Okay, good. That's all I wanted to know. And my voice is clear, which is I guess the most important thing right now. So I look at a business now basically as number one, when somebody goes to open a small business, a professional services business, whether it might be, most people don't go open corporations. They may open small corporations, but the bottom line is, most people that open a business, they have their ideas. They want to promote an idea. They want to promote some sort of they want to have more freedom in life. A business doesn't always give you more freedom,
right?
Unless you really know how to run one. And I'm outlining right now, a new program I'm doing, and it's all about infrastructure. How important infrastructure is, because that's what makes a business work.
Sure.
When you're sitting there, a lot of people chase problems all day. I call that living on a hamster wheel. They're all day on a hamster wheel, handling this, handling that. They hire people to do their work for them, and the people don't really know how to do it well, and so then therefore they sit there and jump in and help. And so here's the owner of the business doing what they're supposed to be doing, serving their clients, plus doing business tasks during the day, trying to go collect money, all different types of things.
Yeah, menial things.
Yeah, and they find themselves working 24/7. At one time, that was me.
Right.
I never even thought about working for somebody. I just came out of school and I figured, okay, the guy that got me into this thing had his own practice. I liked his life. I'm going to have that one, And so in my mind, that's kind of how I got involved. But before I knew it, my goodness, and I was the worst. That's why I think I'm a great consultant, because I was the worst, at learning this program.
Right.
Because the first thing I would do, I'm on the phone. Somebody says, "What are your hours?" I go, "What do you mean, what are my hours?" They go, "Well, we're here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 to 12, 2 to 6. Oh, I can't come in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Well, what were you thinking about coming in? Just Saturday? It's crazy. I was just getting ready to open up on Saturdays.
Right.
I had no system. I'd sway every day, changing my system to always accommodate people. I spent so much time worrying about them, I didn't worry about myself. And it wasn't until the day that I woke up with no money in my account. I'm not going to go into the story, but the highlight of the story, if you want to hear it sometime, give me a call. But the highlight of the story is it's the 1st of August. I've got now 3 clinics. The first of the month bills are due. That means my rents, my salaries, taxes, all the things are due. I have about $30,000 of business things due, $246 in the account.
Wow.
And I go,
oh no.
So I went to a guy that I considered my financial mentor. I go, so now what are you going to do? He goes, what do you mean, what am I going to do? You got yourself here, dude. I've been telling you for years. Actually, for him, it was months. But I've been telling you that you don't know how to run a business.
Right.
And you continue to doing things that finally got you in a situation. You have $30,000 of bills due today, and you have $246 in the account. So don't ask me what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you, what are you going to do?
Right.
And he was the type of consultant that didn't sit there and just treat this, go borrow money, go do this, go do that. He said, no, you got to work this thing out. And I learned from a very early age. In 6 months I was current again, and I had 25,000 in the account, and things had changed in 6 months because I learned how to fix the problem. I was committed, and he burnt his boats on me. He told me, figure it out. And you got yourself in this mess, figure it out. Oh, I'll give you some assistance in areas if you need it. But what I did, I looked at my entire business and I drove home. And I stopped at a store. Can you see this guy?
Yeah.
I stopped at a store to get some lunch, and this guy was on the counter trying to sell it. This old ogre, and it said "No more Mr. Nice Guy." You know, that was his label on him. And I saw that thing and I grabbed it and I go, "That's me. I'm to quit being the nice guy." You know, because I always thought that I had to be the one that was always, you know, accommodating for everybody else rather than putting them at task. If I want to help somebody change their life health wise, I'm not going to go to their house and do it for them. I'm going to show them what to do and
Exactly.
hold them to task. I'm going to hold them to homework if they don't want to do it. My clients right today, I give unlimited coaching. You know, unlimited coaching. The only problem is that the only way you can make an appointment is you have to finish the task that we created on the last consultation and show me your homework. Show me you did the work. Because I had more people calling me up asking for answers, and they just wanted me to give them something, and they would never implement.
Right.
Implementations were changes made, not somebody's ideas.
Sure.
You know, I got plenty of ideas.
That's a sales rep thing too. It's like one of the biggest inhibitors in productivity for sales reps is lack of clarity on the next step. So they find ways to fill in between these steps that make them seem busy, that aren't really profit creating, revenue generating activities.
Right.
So I could definitely see that from a business owner side, is that lack of clarity of next step definitely inhibits productivity.
And actually, it's probably more rampant in business than it is
In
in
sales.
sales. I can't believe it either because, you know, what gets me is people call me up and I go, "So what do you want?" And they go, "I want $1 million business." I said, "So do I." You know, is that going to be a gross service or is that net services? What do you mean? I asked a guy, and this is what's sometimes scary. I asked a guy, he heard about me. He hired me. He called me up to hire me. He heard me speaking at a convention. And then he came up to hire me. And I go, "Okay, dude, so what is it you want?" He goes, "I want to make $500,000 net next year." And I go, "Well, shit, so do I." You
Yeah.
know, that's a good goal. I go, "So how's that going to happen?" He goes, "Well, right now I'm doing about 30,000." I go, "Really? You're doing about a month? You're doing 30,000 a month now?" He goes, "Yeah, every month." But the crazy thing is, I bring in 30,000 and I spend like all of it.
Yeah. You make nothing.
So basically, I said, "Dude, you make nothing." Exactly what
Yeah.
you just said. And what you do, basically, you gross $30,000 a month right now. You're a transfer agent. You bring in 30,000 of revenue and you transfer it to your debtors. You transfer it to your overhead. You transfer it to everything but what serves you.
Yeah.
You know, and therefore you're not even in business. You're just a transfer agent. You transfer people's money.
You'd be better
And
off in the credit card processing game at that point.
exactly. I learned that, you know, like he's one of my earlier clients, believe it or not, that I had. Later, I meet this guy. He's bringing in $1.2 million. He called me up because I did $1.2 million last year. I said, "Congratulations." And he goes, "But I'm having some challenges." I said, "What's that? Paying your bills?" He goes, "Well, how'd you know?" I don't know. Wild guess. He was spending $1.1 million to do the $1.2 million, and he was taking a $5,000 a month salary.
Wow.
He paid the taxes on it, which is remarkable.
Right.
But still, doing $1.2 million of business, running an organization, and it's a professional services business. And it's not just, you know, sit back and have people do it for you.
Yeah.
He's in there in the room seeing people and doing all the work and doing that much business, collecting that money, and then spending almost all of it just to keep the doors open.
Right.
You know, and these types of things, people call me. In fact, I was involved in a company going public once, and they hired me because I had this experience with multiple chiropractic practices, and that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to open up a chain of chiropractic practices. They were going to buy them, and so and then operate them. So I'd come to the meetings, and I walk in, they go, "Oh, here he is again, the Temple of Doom." That was my name because every time they brought something up, I'd go, "I did that 20 years ago."
Right.
You know, it sounds good on paper, but come on, man, that doesn't work. And every time they came up with an idea that they thought of, I said, "You know, you guys hired me to be the president here. Why don't you just let me be the president?"
Right.
And in fact, you know, I think here's the deal. I said, "Here's the deal. I think that you should just fire me because we're never going to get along. You got all this money that you're trying to invest, you know, for your investors, And you look at me, the advice I'm giving you as the being from the temple of doom, so therefore you don't really want to hear anything that's not what you originate in your thought process. So I would just feel better not being here at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and I gave you my outline, what you need to do, and I'm gonna wish you the best. You don't owe me any money. I'll see you later. I left.
Right.
3 months later, they called me up. I go, well, what's up? They go, well, we thought about what you talked about last. I go, yeah, that was a great meeting. Was all your investors came to meet the guy with all the big answers, and all they saw was a temple of doom. They go, yeah, but we realized you were right, and we want to hire you. We want you back to do what you were talking about. I go, you're kidding. So best way to get a great job is quit the one you don't like.
Right. Yeah, that's
So
absolutely right.
I hated the job that I was, supposed to be, running. The first chiropractor I knew that was running a public company, and with all those ideas. But the thing was, and I tried to raise money once. When I had my 13 clinics, my vision was to have 750 clinics. And so a good friend of mine was one of the youngest managers at Thompson McKenna. It was a brokerage firm, and he had pretty big background, and he was all over my program. I wrote it out for him, showed him my stuff. He was all over it, and we couldn't raise a nickel.
Right.
So he was a great, in that industry. I was good in my industry. Together, we just sucked. I mean, we could not bring in a dime. So when these guys contacted me, they'd already got some money. I said, this is my dream. I want to do it. But when I tried to do it, it wasn't popular.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So if you had to boil down, there's kind of there's a few different problems that you hit there. Some of the expectations of business owners is one thing, the inability to understand, what profit is versus volume. What if you had to outline, these handful of problems here, you had to boil them down to the main talking points that business owners should watch out for as a sign that, they aren't running their business the right way. They aren't putting their profit first. They're, accumulating massive debt or spending a ton of money to do revenue that isn't generating income for them. What do you say to those people to kind of boil down what some of their next steps should be or what they should be looking at?
Well, I can share my screen. I'll just show you what I've been outlining the last couple of days.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question you asked, I'm not going to share my screen. It's a new program I'm putting together, because what you just asked, to me, is something that not everyone seems to have the knowledge to ask.
Right.
They live in a life of gross. You go to a seminar. I used to speak at a seminar. It was one of the largest seminars in chiropractic industry in the world. They'd been going for, I stopped going there after being there, after it was going for 55 years. It pretty much, everybody in the world knows about this seminar and the guy who founded it, James Parker. But the thing was, all the conversation was always based around marketing. It was always based around, how do you get more patients? How do you get more income? And then people would come and talk about treating those symptoms. They'd come and talk about how to get different gimmicks to get for marketing, different gimmicks for billing, how to get more money out of patients, and things like this, which, sound kind of creepy to me a little bit, because the bottom line is, give them great service and they'll want to pay you.
Right.
It shouldn't be like a game trying to get something out of somebody. It should basically be the game of enhancing someone's life. My idea is transformation. And so, but the world is stuck on commodity thinking and gross income. How'd you do last year? Oh, I did great, man. I did $1 million. $1 million? Yeah. What was your net? What do you mean by net? You get defensive all of a sudden. What do you mean? My take-home pay? No. What's your business net? You brought in $1 million. What, $500,000? No. Insurance is a little tough right now, and we can only get 48% collections. And I go, so you didn't really do $1 million last year. You did 480.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I did the $1 million. See, they're stuck on that gross.
Right.
So to answer your question is shifting their minds into understanding that a business is profits, not size. It's not how much you did. It's how
How
you
much you
did it,
kept.
so to speak,
Yeah.
and it's also the accomplishment. People call me up. They go, "Hey, I'm seeing 300 patients a week." I go, "Congratulations." You know, so why are you calling me? And he goes, "Well, our collections aren't that great." I go, "What do you mean?" So he's talking about collections again, and it comes down to he might be seeing 300 patients a week, but he's giving half of it away.
Right.
Oh, they're not getting collections. They're not charging people. They're afraid to ask to raise their fees sometimes. So it comes down to they got to learn how to run a business. Your answer is they got to understand business is solving a problem, and the first problem is making your structure work. If your business doesn't work, you can't transform people's lives.
Sure. Yeah,
If you don't know how to burn a
absolutely.
ship, if you don't know how to give advice on this podcast, this podcast has no value.
Right.
It
Right.
only has
Exactly.
value when it answers questions and solves problems.
Sure.
And sometimes it's going to piss people off.
Yeah, I mean,
Like my
especially when you
language
kind
does
of tell
sometimes.
when you tell no, you're good. Especially when you tell people kind of, hey, take your net or excuse me, take your gross and throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Don't you're not the 800-pound gorilla in the room if you still go home with none of the money that you actually made. And that's a big thing we say in the credit card processing world is that it's nice to keep as much of the revenue that you generated as you can, whether that be in the tax area, whether that be in the business services fees area, whether that be what you're paying your employees or people that provide services to your business. There's a lot of things that you can tie up with as far as cost goes, but reality is that there's only really that one number that matters when it comes to, green, yellow, red on that radar or red and black on the spreadsheet is net. How much money did you keep? Your business generated this much. How much did it keep? So there,
It's not what you make, it's what you keep,
yeah,
as you say. But at the same time, if you own the business, why do you have the business? I know people right now that own a business and they go home at night. They haven't seen their wife, in 24 hours. They haven't seen their children. They've been off doing things because they're too busy at work. And the whole idea was to create a life for the family,
right, right.
to give them, a feeling of freedom and a feeling of whatever that word, being taken care of.
Yeah.
Just and they don't do that, and they use the excuse, "Oh, I can't come home tonight, honey, because I'm behind here at work."
Mm-hmm.
And so work always takes away from the beauty of what the family could be.
What you were working on, what
Exactly.
you were working for. I say that all the time in the startup community as well, is that why do you have your business question? I kind of phrase it to people. I say, man, I kind of understand where your business is coming from. I understand what the revenue model is here, but you're operating your business like a true nonprofit. Like I know nonprofit business owners that are generating and making more income in their nonprofit business than you are in your for-profit business. Act and walk and approach yourself and approach your marketing and approach your client base like a for-profit business. People expect to pay for services that they value. Increase your value, you increase the amount of services that you render. There
We
go, increases your net.
we own a nonprofit. We started it 2 years ago, and I run it exactly like a business. And it kind of upsets my wife a little bit because it's really more her business. Um, but I say you got to go out and you got to ask for some donations. Oh, I don't want to talk about money all the time. If you don't talk about money, how can you be in business?
Yeah.
You're going to end up becoming what you stand for, being a non-profit business.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to make a profit, even a non-profit. Just because you take your profits and donate them someplace else,
Mm-hmm. You
or
still have
you
to
give
run it
them
like
away.
a piece of intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah. So the funny thing is, and it is a shame that more people. There's so many people going into business. Um, I saw the number the other day. It's staggering how many people start businesses every year.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's not really where I live, I don't try to memorize everything I see.
Sure.
But the amount of people that are failing in business is even more staggering.
Oh yeah, it's astronomical. The
And
average lifespan of your business is less than a year now.
yeah,
The average small business or startup. The only thing people.
I do remember this. The average person's attention span is less than a goldfish.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like 8 seconds.
So I have learned that part.
Yeah, well, how if we have people in our audience say whatever, and you're not, specifically honed into the chiropractic industry, are you kind of consulting in more industries, more spaces?
Yes, actually, I did the chiropractic industry only for like 25 years, and and it's my industry, it's who I am, it's all those things. But after a while, it's like not another day of this. Um, I just I saw too many, I met too many people that had the same challenges in other businesses,
Sure.
and so I've been trying to unniche myself.
Right.
So just to be totally transparent, the last 7 years, I pulled away. I
Sure.
wrote some books and did some other stuff,
From
but
chiropractic in general, or from the kind of entrepreneur interaction?
everything.
Oh, okay.
I retired.
Love that.
I took a year. I got a motor home and drove around the country for a year. Did some different things, but the bottom line was I got out of it totally. No one at one time everybody knew me in chiropractic because I spoke on this one big program. I go around the world now. I'm a ghost. No one knows
Yeah.
who I am. I even look like a ghost. So this is good because um, what I see now is the industry getting worse. I
Right.
see I see really more and more emphasis. People don't promote business anymore based on how they can transform people's lives. They transforming their seminars based on what they can show you how to charge,
Right.
and how you can make more money. And these guys weren't making it, when the insurance was covering. Now they're trying to get them to sell high ticket, cash programs.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I decided that I love business. I love the game of business. I
Sure.
love watching a deal come together. I mean, there's so many changes. Do you realize that lack of success causes disease, heartbreak, suicide, divorce, children becoming homeless? I mean, it's got so many negative aspects to not being successful.
Absolutely.
That's my passion.
Sure.
And
So
so
tell
I
me.
don't care. I don't care what you do. If you're a service person and you have something that can transform someone's life, and you're not doing it, and I can show you how to do it, I'll, it's my jazz spot. Whatever I
Right.
call it. But I get excited because I know as soon as we get you organized, as soon as we get into looking for the cause of your problems, not the problems, but the cause of your problems, and start getting this organized, you're going to start, becoming understanding your value more, understanding what you do more, and then therefore understand the big picture. That especially if you're married with children, you're married with children, and you're going to work every day, coming home. I think of the old hunter gatherer, scenario. I'm a hunter gatherer. I'm a caveman. I leave the cave in the morning, and I come home at night, and I bring nothing home. The wife looks at you, the kid, where's the dinner?
Yeah. And
Where's
what have
dinner,
you been
man?
doing?
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about yourself? You feel like a freaking loser, right? And so I look at and today, obviously with genders, we have people that are female, male, that are in leadership roles in their lives. It's the same thing. If they're the hunter gatherer, they better be gathering.
Right.
That's their job, because like in my house, my wife, she's the caretaker of the house. She loves taking care of the house. She's smart, and she's good at it. She fixes everything. She fixed a humidifier yesterday. I didn't know how they turn it on. She fixed one not working. But the point being was, she runs the house. I come home. I better provide.
Right.
It's just my job.
Sure.
And so therefore, that's where I bring everything. To answer your question, yes, I will look at almost any small business, especially, and they don't have to be challenged. I mean, one of my favorite businesses is I'm doing 1,200,000 and I'm spending 1,100,000.
Right. Right.
And people's goal seems to be wanting to do the 1,200,000.
Right. It makes sense. So tell me, how do people get in touch with you? If we have people in our audience that want to hear from you, talk to you, need your expertise, how do they find you?
I just shut down my old website. It no longer served me. I do have a website. It's called BruceParkerCoaching.com. It's a temporary site, and I'm starting right now a new Facebook group, and the group is called Master the Business of Chiropractic. Sorry. But Master the Business of Chiropractic. It's a group, and it's a free group right now. You don't have to, join it. But that's probably the best thing. All of our new stuff is coming out on that new group right now, because I'm going to start teaching a lot of what I'm doing on the site. I'm going to use the site as a training vehicle.
Cool.
I'm going to use the site to talk about things we're talking about right now and outline them deeper. And I'll also, make it available. If someone wants to have any coaching or whatever, they can, contact me through there. But that's going to be the contact site. So
Cool.
Facebook.com, master the business of chiropractic. I'm probably just going to change the thing to master the business.
Right. Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate the information that you've given us today and definitely the motivation to kind of jump all in on your business, knowing that there are people out there like you that can really help you solve those problems. If you're a high volume business and you're not bringing home the net pay that you expect to bring home from your high volume business, Bruce Parker, Dr. Bruce Parker here is a really good resource for you. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. You've given us a bunch of information and a bunch of just for me to think about in my own business myself. So if there's anything else you want to say to the audience before you go, feel free to leave them with a final word. But that's all I got for us today.
Okay, well, my last word is basically, become profitable. Take care of your family and transform lives.
Yeah.
As far as I want to thank you for having me on the podcast. I had fun. Hopefully
Thanks.
you did.
I did.
Hopefully I had some relevant information that you could take and use. And please know I'm an open book. The reason why I set this new Facebook program up for free is because I know that if I could see 100, 200 people on there, they might have some very pertinent questions, and by answering those questions, they could change their life.
Absolutely.
And that's really, I'm at a point in my life that I love transforming lives more than anything else.
Cool.
So I would love to see you on the podcast, on the website, talk to you, whatever. And meanwhile, thanks again for having me. Thanks for trusting me with your airtime.
Yeah, no problem.
Because sometimes that can be a gamble with me sometimes. But anyway.
Well, I appreciate the value. I think you have a big value to small businesses. I appreciate it. I appreciate kind of getting to pick your brain here, and we'll definitely reconnect. We'll bring you back on. We'll find something else to talk about, and we'll see if we can't find some case studies. Maybe we break down some people that we know specifically. So,
yeah. Oh, one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm offering a free case study to 3 people. What I mean by that is I will coach you for our 12-week program for free, but I don't have to use your name. I just need to use your stats. I want to say this person here was here, and here. After 12 weeks, we did this, and this, and this is the new result.
Sure.
I'm looking for 3 people right now just to create a new case study because, as I said, I did take off for a few years. I'm coming back into it, and I got tons of old studies. I want some new studies.
Cool.
And go from there. So
yeah, I think we can help you find some people.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, I'll talk to you soon, my friend. I